Happy Saturday! I'm here with Sorcerer's Apprentice Mickey, and today I'm going to show you how to build the Game Grid, my new toy box world that I showed you in yesterday's episode of Toy Box Tutorials. This is an easy build, so I'm going to do this in one episode. And to save time, I've already placed a few toys that I'm going to need. I've placed a sky changer out of the Instant Fun drawer, and I've set the sky to be the Retro Video Game Sky. You find this under the Disney Infinity 1.0 drawer. It's the first sky in the list. I don't use this one too often, but I kind of like that for this toy box. And I've also placed a boom box to turn off the music, because it's really annoying. And also I placed a couple of terrain pieces that I'm going to need. So I've placed this river piece, and I've also placed this cliff piece. And I'm selecting these so you can see where they are in the drawer and what they are called and what they look like. That way I don't have to scroll quite so much. So we're going to begin by styling this piece. This is the default terrain block that we start with. We're going to use the video game level. And I'm going to go ahead and theme all, because all three of those terrain pieces need this. And I'll also set this to be my theme. So every new terrain block we put down, we'll use that theme. Alright, for the orientation of this, we start facing this direction in the toy box. And so we're going to put our pinball game that we started to build last time out this way. And we're going to place another version of pinball out this way that we're going to build in a month or so. And another game out that way. And then the city that we're going to build goes this way. So that's what the plan is. And let's go ahead and pick this piece up and put it down. And we're going to come over here and drop this down one level. And we're going to drop two of these like this. And I'm going to set the theme for this one to be the Flynn's World theme from Tron. I'm just going to apply that. And you'll see why I'm doing this shortly. And for this one, we're going to use the Nicelander's home from Wreck-It Ralph. This is going to be the floor of our second pinball game that we're going to build later. Alright, and then we'll exit out of here. And let's come out this direction, and we're going to build the base for our pinball game that we started yesterday. And now at this point I am going to change this and set the theme to be Flynn's World, because I'm going to put down several of these. I just like the computer look of it, and it makes a nice contrast with the ground around it. And then we're going to switch to this piece, and we're going to put a row of these in here. And you'll see why we're doing that in a little bit later episode. And that's it for the blue, so we can change this back now to our retro video game level. Alright, and you'll notice I raised that up back again to this level over here. And while we're here, let's go ahead and put this one in. And it might be good to kind of orient these in the same direction, because they've got the little infinity logo there in the grass. And I think that's just good to make sure that's all oriented the same way. And we'll put this one in here like this. Okay. So there's what we have there. And then on this side, we're going to drop one of these in here. Yeah. I'm going to drop this down like this, I believe. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking there's an issue, but this one we're going to raise up. We'll put this one in like that. And you're wondering why I'm not raising this one up, and I'll show you that shortly. Okay. Just trying to get the base of the terrain in here. Let's go ahead and pick this one up. We're going to come out this way, and we're going to set the theme on this. Well, let's just apply it for right now. We're going to drop some more of these, but I need to place some more grass here before we can do that. And I'm looking at this. Yeah, okay. So let's pick this piece up again. We're going to put one more in like that. And then a row of these along here. Followed by one more. And then we'll pick up this river piece. This is going to sit right here like that. And we're going to put in 3 of those total. Followed by a lake. And unfortunately, the texture on that lake just isn't going to match up with the rest of these. But that's okay. Its orientation has to be like that. There's just no way around it. This one we're going to change shortly, but let's go ahead and rotate it anyway. All right, and there we go. Let's go ahead and change this now while I'm thinking of it. And again, we're going to use the frosted white world for this one. Okay, we'll pick up the river. And we'll start working upward to build in the next level. So this is going to sit in here like this. This one's going to sit in here like this. We'll put in another river piece, followed by the pond. So that's where the river is going to come from. And then we'll pick this piece up again, put it down. We're going to line this up with the edge of the cliff there on the waterfall. And in my original toy box, I actually had this sticking out half a nudge. But for purposes of this build, I want you to put it in there like that, because it's going to fix a little issue that I've got with this. So we'll put 2 of these in like that. Grab the next size larger. This one's going to sit up here against the corner like that. Let's rotate it around so the texture is consistent. And then we're going to put 3 of these across here like that. And then this one's going to sit back here. Oops, like this. And then to plug the gap up top, you can use, let's see, I think we can use this one. There we go. Like that. If you place this where I did, originally, half a block out, then all the rest of these slide over half a block and you don't have room for this piece and you have a gap here. So that works out better that way. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now that we've got the terrain over here, we can go ahead and finish this off. So let's set our theme to be Frosted White World. I'm going to set that. This has already been themed for that. But if I set the theme, then all the future blocks that I drop down will use this same texture. So we're going to put 2 here like this. And then we'll put another one over here, lined up right against those. We'll put 2 down like that. That's going to be the concrete for our city. All right, once again, let's set the theme back to our retro video game level. Set that to be the theme. And now I need to place some little spacer blocks here. So let me pull up my screen grab so that I can remember exactly where I placed these. This is going to take me a moment. Here we go. Oops. And for this, we'll just go up to the blocks drawer. And right on the corner of this, we're going to place down 4 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are just temporary. And then we're going to use the small and thin terrain block. And we're going to drop this right down on top of here. And you want to line this up like that. And orient it so the texture matches. Just like so. Okay. You're going to drop a second one, and a third one, and a fourth one, and a fifth one. And for this middle one, we'll set this to be the Frosted White World, and I'm just going to apply. I'm not going to set the theme because this is the only piece that I'm going to change to be like that. And what that does, we can go ahead and take these out now, is that has centered this block on our playing field over here, more or less. For purposes of our gameplay, it has. All right, let's pick this piece back up and put it down. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And when we get out here, we're going to come this way. 3, 4, 5. And then we'll come back this direction. All right. And that frames in, or begins to frame in, the pinball area here for our next pinball game. And then we're going to place these pieces here around the perimeter, line them up with the blocks they're next to. And it's really important here that this is right on the terrain seam between those 2 blocks underneath. And this design for this pinball game is based on something that Sumerian did a number of years ago. I took my idea from that. So the ball is going to move between those 2 areas. When we get to that point, I think you'll be pretty thrilled to see how that plays. All right, over here, let's go ahead and frame this in now. So for this area, let me get my screen grab here. We're going to take the piece that's half the size of these, or quarter size of these. And again, let's switch this around as best we can. Not that it's going to matter. We're going to place 2 there. And over here, we are going to leave a 1 block wide channel. So like that. Okay. And that channel is going to be for the launch chute for the pinball. We're going to place these over here like this. Let's see, oops, over here. So this then is going to sit in here behind these. Like so. And I think if I have done this right, I think we're going to end up with a gap if I don't. Yeah. Not quite sure how I had this originally, but I think we need to move those from the other game. We'll put 2 of these in here, like that. And then all of these over here, just go ahead and slide them this way. Not quite sure what happened, but it's not really going to matter, I don't think. So you're just going to slide all of these over. And I'll do that offline when I place the plants and stuff. But you're going to slide those over like that. All right, over here. Next thing we will do, grab our little piece of terrain here. We're going to fit this in like this. That's going to give us a little channel here for the ball to roll down. This one's going to sit in here like that. Once again, we'll put a block in here off the corner of this like that. And sorry for that little delay. I was checking my screenshot here. So then we're going to come up like this and build a little wedge here like that. And for this next section, you're going to line that up like this, so it's halfway off of that block. So you're a block and a half away from the block on the left. So over here, if you go 1, 2, 3 nudges, it puts you out like this. And we want to make sure the tip of this is lined up with that corner right there. So just like you see it there. This piece is going to sit in the back like that. I'm going to place 2 more spacer blocks in here just to help me place these correctly. And then this one sits in here like this. Another one over here like that. Okay. And we're building kind of a little tunnel or channel here where the ball can go. Alright, and then we can plug the gaps with some smaller blocks here. So we need 1 to sit in there like that, 1 to sit in there like that, 2 to sit in over here. And go ahead and take these spacers out. And as you can see, we're starting to end up with kind of an interesting looking pinball area, which I like. All right. Let's put another spacer block in over here. And I'm going to just double checking something here. All right. that's got to sit there like that. Yeah. Again, these are just spacers. And actually, let's take that one out. For this one, we're going to put it a half a block or a little nudge to the left. All right. And that tells me where this one needs to go. So this first block over here, the right edge of this block is lined up with this terrain seam right here. And then you got a half a block gap, and then the 3 block wide, and then this. So that sits there like that. We're going to put 3 of these out here. We need our little wedge in the corner. A single block there. Let's go ahead and pick this up. Then we'll use this little wedge here, like that. And there's our launch channel. And we can take these 2 spacers out. And we're going to end up with a gap here, but I'm going to plug that tomorrow. Or, I plugged that yesterday. Sorry, I'm doing these in backwards order, so, yeah. But yeah, we'll plug that later. Okay. So I'm going to pick this up and put it down. We're going to put a second one like this. Okay. And then 2 of these little wedges. Another little wedge over here. Another wedge over here. With this little block in the middle. Alright, there's the terrain for our pinball game. And we also need a little ramp here. Let's go ahead and put that in. I have to go over to the right to find that. Okay, so there we go. All right, and then at this point we can put the cliff in around here. And actually, let's yeah, let's do that. I think that'll be the easiest way to do this. And it's good to switch these around a little bit so it's not so repetitive. Put this piece in the corner. And again, this just puts a really nice finishing edge. Because you don't want this to be square. That just looks bad. I mean, they texture the sides of those blocks, but this just looks so much better. There you go. And then at this point, you can fill in behind it. So we can grab this block, pick it up, just kind of fill in this area up here. Like that. All right, one more thing I want to do before we go offline and put the plants in. And I'm going to move this little white block over. Again, you're going to shift all of these over half a block, as you'll see shortly. But last piece here are the roads. So we're going to come up to the racetrack pieces. And let me grab my screenshots here. Make sure I've got this right. Okay, so the long racetrack is going to go right here, centered on that white block. And we're going to set the theme for this to be the retro video game. I'll set that to be the theme. We're going to place one of these over here like this, just to make it easy so I can come back. The intersection's what we're looking for. We'll put this piece here, and I like having that infinity logo there. And let's pick up the start pad and just kind of put this down here. So again, pick that piece up, put it down. Swing this around and put it up here, followed by a medium, followed by some ramps. And we'll use the ramps to build a little bridge. Let's see. So we'll go like that. We'll put in a couple of these pieces across the water. That gets us over to that area. Okay, the very long racetrack, we'll put another one here, followed by a long, followed by a medium. And then we're going to put another intersection in here. And then we want the very long piece again. So that goes in there like that. These go in there like that. There's our roads. Alright, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and fix the terrain over there. I'm going to add in all the plants and buildings. And when I do, I'll be back and I'll show you what I've got and we'll wrap this up. Okay, I am back and I've placed all of the plants and all of the buildings. So let me show you what I've done. And probably easiest to start with the buildings. I'm using the cartoony style buildings for the most part. These are all out of the buildings group. They're from the Incredibles playset. You don't want to use the realistic buildings in this environment, so I think these are best for this. And the placement of this is about 1.5 blocks, I believe, off of the edge of that terrain. So let me drop this down here. Yeah, so you can see that's about 1.5 blocks off of that. That's where I've placed the first building. And you can see which buildings I've placed. There's 2 of these. And then I used the parking garage, the 2-story parking garage out of Building Sets Group 2. And we stuffed one of these back there. The real key is this one. And I've got that on that block, and the exact placement of it doesn't really matter. This one's just here to kind of plug the gap. A couple little building facades. This is also out of the buildings drawer. And I can pick that up and show you. So that's this Metroville Center. Again, that's from the Incredibles playset. And there we go. And then on the opposite side of the street, we have these buildings. That's a little bit larger. And this is placed about the same distance away from the street as this one is on the other side. And same with this. This is a block and a half off of the edge of that terrain seam. So there's the buildings for that. And then you can see the plants that I've used. Again, these are the first 9 pieces out of the plants drawer. These fantasy pieces. You can see which ones I've used and how I've oriented them. I'll just give you a really quick flyover here. On these small round ones, you can kind of note the placement of the red flower. That tells you how to orient that little light post version of the plant. And then these, you can notice the orientation of the purple flowers, or that big green one there. And if you don't use the exact plants that I'm using, that's okay. For this tall one, notice the orientation of the sprig. And again, feel free to pause this at any time to see what I've done. And just continuing along here. Whoops. There is a little plant back here that you don't want to miss, as well as one right there. I'm not going to linger too long because this video is already a lot longer than I wanted it to be. And again, if you don't get the plant placements there exactly the same as I have them, that's okay. If they're in the same general ballpark with the same orientations, you'll end up with something very similar to what I have. All right, let's go around the perimeter of this little canyon here. Nothing along the back there. I'm going to put some other things in there later. And there we go. That's all of the plants for the lower level. Now up here, let's start on, yeah, we're right here. Let's start on this side of the river. And again, look at the terrain seams because that kind of tells you the approximate placement of all of these things. And you'll notice I'm just kind of lining the cliff and the river. I've left a lot of this empty back here. It's unfinished. You can finish it however you like. This area up here isn't relevant to what I'm doing in the tutorials, so I didn't finish it. So I'm leaving that as an exercise for you. I did put Rapunzel's tower back here, just because I thought it'd make a good focal point, and it's centered with the road down there through town. I just thought it was really neat to be down below and see this tower sticking up there. Kind of makes you want to go up there and check it out. But let's continue around the cliffs with the plant placements here. And you'll notice I put a cliff along the back there. I'll show you that in a moment. And just a few plants out this way. And then I added this cliff as kind of a backdrop, and you'll notice it's unfinished behind there. I mainly did that because I felt that I needed something behind those trees. It just seemed a little empty up there without that. But you can fill in some terrain behind that. Maybe add a little explorable area up here if you want. Or you can even skip that cliff area. I just kind of like the look of it, personally. And then to go ahead and finish this off, we'll style the plants. We're going to use the retro game terrain, and I'm going to theme all. Are you sure? Yes. And that just makes all of the plants look like a video game and really finishes off this level nicely. And you'll notice the way this worked out, the plants that I chose has all of these big bushy green ones over here around this pinball game, and mostly pines around this game. And I just thought that was kind of helpful to set off each area a little bit. Makes it clear that there are two different areas, two different kinds of games. And that's it for the build exercise. I'll be back next Friday with a new episode of Toy Box Tutorials as we continue to examine some new toys that we're going to need to build our custom pinball game. Until then, I want to thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you go if you haven't done that already. Have a great weekend.